Do you guys want me to refresh it all what we were doing yesterday? Or do you feel like you somewhat remember? Okay. So we're just trying to find solutions, and this formula finds it for us. We need to be able to figure out A, B, and C to use it. So we did this question together yesterday. You guys did this one on your own, right? And then that's where we ended? Excellent. Okay, so we've got one story problem. Breaking stuff. Was that your phone? Oh, that was a lot harder to drop than I thought. I didn't realize it was a phone. Okay.
Do you think we should write down this whole thing or just the equation?
I would probably recommend writing it all down.
Okay.
So, as a refresher reminder, when we get to the end of the chapter, the test is going to have two parts. And the second part of the test is generally what we're going to call application problems, which would be like a story problem involving quadratics. So this is a good example of a application of a quadratic. And there really isn't that many questions in the book like this. So I guess that's kind of why I recommend writing it. For anybody that is thinking of doing a retake on the test, by the way, I did download a sheet of a bunch of factoring questions. So if you're thinking of doing a retake, that's certainly something I could give you as just like practice to try to work on factoring. Is anybody here in physics? Okay. So this probably looks super familiar to you. Did you bring candy for the rest of us too? That's not fun. That's super boring. That's a big disappointment. Do you realize how excited I was when I thought maybe you had a bag of candy you were going to share with everybody? I could really go for a Reese's peanut butter cup right now. It's been a really long time since I had one. So anyway, seeing the bag of pencils that was opened up, I did buy a whole bunch of new pencils. So if anybody needs them, I've got them up here. Okay, Kylie, you ready? There we go. Let's roll. Oh boy, everybody's breaking stuff today. 28?
Yeah.
Lily, before we even do this problem, because this is supposed to represent real world situations, and it does, by the way. Yep.
Did you have a solution manual for calc?
Yes. You don't have one?
I have volume 2, but not volume 1. I was like, so I'm wondering if it may have been home.
Oh, I just brought mine from home.
like 2019.
Yeah, I just brought mine home from
during
last
pandemic.
week. Yep. Uh, oh, Lily,
Yes.
because this represents something real, it's very possible we're going to get answers that don't make sense.
Right.
What kind of answers wouldn't make sense in this problem?
An imaginary number.
Oh, that's definitely true too. I wasn't even thinking of that one. Good call.
You know
And
me.
what?
You know me. I'm
Yep.
always on top of it.
Well, no, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking of something not totally different, but so imaginary is definitely correct. Can you think of other numbers that wouldn't make sense as the answer?
Probably a negative number.
Perfect. That's more what I was thinking about. But you were spot on with imaginary. If we get a negative number, it's not going to make sense. Sure, Kylie. Who's the next person? Oh, that looks awkward to roll like that. Left-handed backwards.
Yeah. 30.
Monica. Why wouldn't a negative number make sense for an answer? When we get a number answer, what does it represent? How's that? Would that be better to ask?
What is a negative number after that?
Yeah, that's ideally what I was hoping you could answer. So like if we get to the end of the problem and the answer is t equals 8, what does that mean?
I don't know.
Oh, what question are we trying to answer?
How long until the water hits the ground?
Good. So what would 8 mean?
The amount of time or length until the water hits the ground?
Ooh, that was a good answer. That was a very good answer. So 8 would represent how long it takes till you hit the ground. And on this one, I think it's seconds probably. Oh, it doesn't even say. That was nice. Real bad on my part. This doesn't give any kind of units for anything. That was definitely, we'll call that my bad. But yes, so a negative number would represent negative time, and that just doesn't work. So that's why we're going to throw out any negative answers we get. Each word problem you guys get, so situational, modeling, whatever, they all very possibly can have answers that don't actually work, but you can find them mathematically, they just don't actually work. Now, the reason I asked about physics is because, you know, we have a lot of story problems that aren't realistic, like they're supposed to be realistic and, you know, they're real world situations, etc. So this one is actually as accurate and real as it gets. So this formula is one that you're going to use in physics pretty often. And I'm not expecting you to just know this, okay? I'm telling you to explain it. This first number, the negative 16t squared, that number represents acceleration due to gravity. So when you drop something, the center of the earth pulls things towards it at a rate of 32 feet per second squared. Okay? So this is acceleration due to gravity. This negative 2 represents how fast you threw it initially. So this negative 2 represents the fact that the water was being, thrown is kind of a weird term for water, but the water is being thrown at a speed of 2 feet per second or whatever this will be in feet because it's negative 16 dictated that. So this would be initial velocity, and then this represents the height that you dropped it from. So these are all going to be real things that you run into and work with. And this is going to be a common formula as you have some of your later classes. So that's kind of why I picked it. Again, I do not care if you know this at all. You don't need to. You're not going to have to come up with an equation. I'm just explaining what it represents because I thought maybe you'd like that. So when I put a number in place of t, the answer it represents would be the height of the water at that current time. So like if I plug a 1 in, and we don't have to write this down, but you can. If I plug a 1 in, this would represent that the height of the water at 1 second. So let's see, y of 1 would be negative 16 minus 2 would be negative 18 plus 500, 482. So after 1 second, the water would be 482 feet off the ground. So when we get to the end of the chapter test, I'm really hoping that you guys will kind of get the word problems more, because we've been working with quadratics a lot more. So that's why I thought maybe this would be helpful to put in your notes, so that you guys have things to look at to kind of click, make sense. This has nothing to do with our current problem. This is just example. Sure, Kylie, let's roll for this one. Those are all the same numbers. Zach. It's not a terrible question. Okay, you just didn't want to be called on?
No, we're good.
It's all right, that's my reaction to be called on too. If something hits the ground, what is the height of that said thing?
Wow.
All right, so the height,
In the context of the problem, or just in general?
both. What's the height of if the thing is right here, what would you say the height is, approximately?
Like 3-4 feet?
3, good.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea either, it's just a guess. So, hits the ground, what's the height of the thing?
0 feet.
Good, 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 that's what we're looking for.
That's what the ground is.
Yes.
Okay. That was a trick question. I was like,
Oh, no, definitely not. I mean, yeah, I would, okay. So, like right here, when I wrote at 1 second, it was 482 feet off the ground. So if something is hitting the ground, I want the equation to be equal to 0. If I want to find the time when negative 16t squared minus 2t plus 500, when I want to know the time when it's at a height of 0, that's what I would write. If I wanted to find the time when it was at a height of 3, I would make it equal to 3. So if I make it equal to 0, what this is finding me is t, the time, is when the height of the object is 0.
But wouldn't, by putting it at 0, it would be before it even gets poured out?
No, that's if you put time at 0. So if I were to plug 0 in place of t, that would be before it gets poured out.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you're thinking correct, but just backwards. So good. No, that's definitely going to be a common mistake. That's kind of why I thought I'd go slow on this. So when we're done, this is going to say t equals something. That's going to tell us the time it took to hit the ground. Excellent. All right, Kylie. Do we have another person? Should I just guess 29 right now?
30.
6.
Oh, jeez, that was not even close. I'm a bad guesser. Hank is gone. Jaden's taking a test. Your arm is getting a workout. Is this waking you up at all? Having a roll?
18.
18 is Liam. Where do I go from here? I'm just trying to find the answers to this blue equation. Be our guide. Be our Einstein. Okay, why would I do that? What does that equation tell us? All right, I'll go with that. That works. So the quadratic equation is one way of finding the answers to a quadratic equation. Wait, did I call it quadratic equation? I don't know. The quadratic formula is one way to figure out when a quadratic equation is equal to 0. Okay, so what's A, B, and C?
Negative 16 is A.
Good, good, good.
2 is B.
Nope, -2, but very good. I mean, you identified the right spot.
It's a
Oh, did you?
yeah.
I'm going to pretend you didn't, so I was right. It's okay.
B is 500.
Okay, excellent. No, there's always just so much white noise in the rooms, like the fan from that projector, and the fact that my ears still haven't unplugged from my cold. That I haven't been able to hear anybody for a while. Okay, good though.
Hello.
Do you guys need help putting this in the formula?
Sí, señor.
Si, senor. Is that a yes?
Yeah.
C.
Yes, sir.
I took German. I don't know. I didn't go the popular route.
Good morning.
Well, yeah, it is good
It is
morning.
a
Yes,
detour.
it is a good morning, but that still didn't answer my question. That's okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
9.
that's
No,
it.
señor.
It's actually why I liked German as a student, because it felt like English. Okay, so the formula is the opposite of b. So we're going to put in +2, plus and minus. That was bad. B squared is -2 squared. Why do I keep looking at the monitor? The whole reason I got a monitor so I didn't have to stare backwards when I was writing. Negative b squared minus 4. A is -16. C is 500. AKA why I told you to get your calculators. All over, can't write lines. 2 times A. So this one's kind of rough.
I can tell.
Um,
So ready though?
Kylie, what should we do on our calculators first? Well, if you want to answer, you can, otherwise roll.
26.
It's just a monopoly on those numbers. David,
Put the square root in the calculator.
perfect job. So, and actually, in your calculator, don't type the square root symbol. I just want you to calculate the inside of the square root first.
Right.
Do we do it in order with like all the parentheses and everything?
Now, part of the reason I wrote parentheses is because if you type it in your calculator exactly like this, it will tell you the answer.
Will we be allowed a calculator on the test?
Probably.
Okay, cool.
Seems like,
32,004.
wow, I was getting there.
That sounds right.
That is the answer I got. Put that in front of me.
Thank you. Morning. Thank you. Do I need this? I don't think so. Okay. Now, as you guys get to the problems today, I kind of want you to practice 2 things. We didn't really do this yesterday. This would be called the exact answer, and I'm not even going to pretend, like, we definitely don't have to simplify this square root. Like, that'd be worthless. Like, it's not going to make any more sense if it was simplified. So, as you guys are doing the homework, I think it would be a good idea if you practice. Oh, how do I get that out of the way again? There we go. This is going to be the exact answer, because sometimes you're asked for either or. Now, in this particular situation, this answer makes 0 sense, because you're looking for a time. And if you give this answer as a time to somebody, it's not going to mean anything at all. So there are going to be some situations where decimal is more appropriate. Should we go over how to put this in a calculator to get a decimal?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. So on your calculator, I would type in 2 plus square root 32,004, hit enter,
Oh, jeez.
and then divide by negative 32. And then you're going to
5.65,
say it again.
negative 5.65.
Shouldn't be negative. Oh, yeah, it is. Never mind. Divided by negative. And then you're going to do 2 minus square root of 32,004. Hit enter. And obviously, if you know how to type this without hitting enter, you can. Just, I have a feeling a lot of you are using scientific where this is how you're going to type it in. So obviously, this one should be positive. What'd you get, Keelan?
1,000, I think. You did.
Ooh, that seems really big.
I'll try.
5.52.
That's probably more realistic.
Maybe I got. Well, 2 minus the square root of 32,004.
Yep. And then divide it by.
Divided by negative 32. It's 5.5.
Okay. 1,000 seemed a little bit off to me because that'd be a lot of seconds. And 500 feet isn't actually that tall if you drop something. So.
Like,
Oh, I thought you were asking me a question.
oh,
Okay, and then earlier, I think Lily is one that told us that negative numbers don't make sense because it's time. So I would cross that one off.
but we're negative, you keep traveling into the past.
Correct.
Oh, but we got the number. It's pop.
And so this is how long it would take for the water to hit the ground. I spent a long time on this, but I thought that was okay because I think that would probably help. When you do run into these, it helps a lot to understand what you're trying to do.
When we're doing this in an equation that's just like on our worksheet or on the test, would that and if we get a negative number that's not necessarily in the context of a word problem, would that be okay?
Correct.
Okay.
Negative numbers aren't bad. It's just in certain contexts, if they stand for something that can't be negative, they're bad.
Okay.
Why can't we travel to the past? I mean, it's not that hard. All we need is a DeLorean and some plutonium.
Yeah.
I mean, like, those are simple solutions, but most people don't have access to plutonium.
Wow, fair
We
enough.
can sure
I
Yeah.
do have some in my, like,
Yeah.
Oh, in your backpack? Oh, all right.
It's a highly radioactive material.
Yeah, I mean, like-
Probably gives you cancer within like 5 minutes.
I was actually thinking we would be dead more than cancer.
A little more fatal. but
Yeah.
You're on the right
It's
track there.
contained.
Okay, it's contained. We're all right.
Don't worry.
We're all right. That's good to hear.
Splitting the plutonium atom and creating a nuclear explosion, right? in this
I'm
time.
glad that you
wouldn't-
decided to
I
contain it
wouldn't
before
like
bringing
that
it
at
to
all.
school. Yep. Okay.
Really think
I
about
put it in like a plastic Tupperware.
Really think about.
Now, I do have one more slide, but I don't know if we're going to need it because from everything I've heard from you guys so far, you've done a really good job on this.
Oh, I'm good.
So I think
No, I'm good.
we could probably not do this.
Let's do the homework.
Does anybody want me to put these answers up or anything?
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, actually, you know what? These are saved in the notes.
okay.
So I'll post notes right after this then. Here is your homework for today. There's not many questions because they go kind of slow. I mean, again, there's only one thing to memorize, but
Which is the formula.
yeah, simplifying the answers, I think, where you're going to have the most difficulty. The answer key is up here, so if you guys want to be able to check yours. This answer key won't have the decimal versions, though.
So you gotta figure that out yourself.
Well, that, or I can help you, or check with other people around you, things like that.